We watched Frozen today!
For the first time in forever, I'm getting what I'm dreaming of. A chance to change my lonely world. A chance to find true love.
Oh, greetings everybody. I'm One Sat Morn.
And I'm Cat T Critic, and we're here by our warm, unlit fireplace.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Only one log, not really enough for a good roaring fire.
Wood's expensive.
Yeah.
But yes, we saw Frozen, and it is, in my opinion, possibly the best Disney film of the year, if not in the last decade or so.
I would agree. I mean, I think Monsters University comes very close, but I don't know. This sort of had a little more life to it.
Yeah, like it. I've read reviews from like critics and stuff who said it reminds them of like the films from the Disney Renaissance, like Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, and I sort of have to agree. Like, I wouldn't say it's Beauty and the Beast level, but like more like Little Mermaid level.
Yeah. It kind of feels like Tangled in a way.
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's the same. It seems like the same models and style, but in terms of story and everything else, it's completely different. So, yeah. So I guess we should start from the beginning. Cause,
Yeah.
Like, as much as I love this film, there are some things that I do have sort of a gripe with.
The beginning is a little awkward.
Yeah, that's the first thing I want to note, is that Frozen, unlike a lot of past Disney films, doesn't have I'll just call it a proper Disney opening. And what I mean by proper Disney opening is the fact that usually a lot of the films, like say, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, they usually open up with like a book opening, like you're about to read a story. Or in the case of Beauty and the Beast, where you have the story told to you through stained glass. Or like in Aladdin, where you had the peddler, narrating stuff. That a lot of Disney films have that, where someone narrates the beginning and they give you a background, they get you into the story, they set you up for everything. This one doesn't have that at all. No.
And I'd say that it jumps right into it, but we do open with a musical number.
Yeah, and it's not a bad musical number, it's sort of setting up, the area in which they live in, which I assume is Norway, because the animators went there to look at a lot of the details for the ice. Yeah,
it's definitely like Northern Europe, Iceland, Greenland area.
Basically a place where ice is a business.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And they set it up with these two sisters, these two princesses. And one of them happens to have powers. She can create snow and ice. And there's no explanation for it. Just that she was born with it. But apparently, like, her sister, doesn't care. In fact, she loves the fact that her sister has those powers, and they play around with it. They build snowman. But unfortunately, during one of their play sessions, the older girl, the one who could do the magic, Elsa, she strikes her younger sister Anna in the head, which they say it freezes her head, but it pretty much just knocks her out and just turns like a strand of her hair white, which I thought was kind of strange. But,
yeah.
But apparently this is enough to be a life or death situation. So their parents, the king and queen, bring Anna to these trolls, or rocks, and the king manages to save her, but as sort of a precaution, safety measure, he removes all of Anna's memories of Elsa ever having those powers. Like, he keeps the fun times.
Yeah. He keeps their memories of what they did, but alters it a bit so that instead of it showing her with powers, it shows them like out in the snow, out in the mountains and stuff.
Yeah, and he also warns the parents that because of Elsa's powers, they're just going to get stronger and stronger, and she has to learn to control them, and part of that is not giving in to fear, because the more she gives in to fear, the more out of control she gets.
So how do they respond to that? By making her lock herself away.
Yep, lock her away. Just, close all the doors, lock all the gates, get rid of half the staff, and don't tell her younger sister at all why they're locking her away. Making her think that Elsa just doesn't want to be with her anymore. So.
Which kind of leads into one of our, some people's favorite musical number, the Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
You want to build a snowman?
And it's sort of this sort of montage in which, they go through the life of the two sisters, going behind closed doors, and how Anna's like really bored and she just wants to hang out with her sister, but her sister's like, she won't open the door, she won't come out, she's pretty much shut herself off and shut herself out from everything, and her sister's getting progressively sadder, and then, like I said, it shows them growing up, and each time Anna keeps coming to Elsa's door trying to, ask her to come out, build a snowman, but she won't. And then it takes a turn for the worse.
Disney strikes again!
Yes! They don't even sugarcoat this. They pretty much...
What does every single Disney film do? Kill off parents. In this case, not just one parent, both of them.
In one shot. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, they show them going off on a ship ride to wherever Stan, and you see the seas get all rough and stormy, and you see the ship go behind a wave, and then you don't see it again. And they don't even like hide the fact.
I gotta actually give them credit for that. This isn't anything new, because if you look back at Snow White and Cinderella, both of them were orphans. Both of them had their parents die at the very beginning of the film, but the thing is, you never see it.
Yeah, this one has the balls to show you exactly what happened. Even if it doesn't go into graphic detail, you see that scene, and it's, you know they're gone.
Yeah, and then of course it gets so sad. Like, by the end of the song, I'm like, Disney, you're heartless.
It's not even an off-screen death. This... wow.
Because here's the thing, like, up to that point, the number reminded me a lot of the opening number from Swan Princess, in that, it's all sort of a musical montage of them growing up to the point where they're at now. But, of course, with this, they have the deaths, and I gotta say, like, this isn't the most traumatic thing I've ever seen. Finding Nemo was the most traumatic parent death at the very beginning of the film, but it is surprising, like, how mature they were all about that. It's like, no, we're not gonna have it so that they just up and disappear or anything.
We're gonna show you exactly what happened. Even if we don't, show them drowning, we're gonna show the ship basically being swallowed by the sea.
And to be honest, though, like, I wasn't that sympathetic for her parents just because of how stupid they were going on about Elsa's situation. It's like, you have a child with powers that you know that she is too young to control, that she needs instruction with, and at the same time you're fearful for your other child's life. So why would you still keep them close enough to be in contact, but kind of hide the other one off like, she's some sort of, like, dingy rag you don't want the public to see? It's like, there's so many other ways you could have went about it. Like, you could have sent Anna away to a school or something while you dealt with Elsa to help her learn to control her powers. Or you could have found someone to help Elsa and sent her away until she learned to control her powers.
But
or you could have called the Xavier Institute, because they take people like Elsa.
Or how to live among the trolls.
That too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't know how to how to go about that.
Yeah.
That's another weird thing, where in a lot of Disney films, it's pretty much implied that whatever land that the main characters live in, there is some degree of magic. Like, there is some knowledge and some acceptance of magic. In this world, there is none.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is the trolls, which, you know, the king somehow knew existed and where to find them.
Yeah.
But apparently everyone else's attitude toward magic is the same as, you know,
it's very apropos.
1600 Puritans.
Yeah, it's what you said about X-Men. It's pretty apropos. It's pretty much how they treat magic in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the deaths, it's actually important that they died, because it does actually come into play. Because now what's the name of the place? It's like Anna something. Or? Arendelle. Yeah. Arendelle now has no royalty until Elsa comes of age at 16.
Is that 16 or 18?
I'm guessing it's 16. I could be wrong, but
I guess. Well, we'll go
in any
16.
case, she has to be, you know, an adult, but among, you know, the people's eyes.
Right. But that's another thing that you know, I was curious about that. The parents didn't have enough foresight, you know, to sort of deal with the line of succession. Because you would think that, given Elsa's powers and stuff, and the fact that, you know, they were going to such lengths to hide her, they wouldn't want her to become the next ruler. Because, you know, that's obviously her secret's going to get out. You think they'd skip over to Anna. But that doesn't happen. I guess it was an afterthought or something.
Clearly, they don't plan things out too well, as we've seen.
Yeah. So, yes, Elsa is to become queen. The first Disney queen. No, I should say the first non-evil Disney queen.
Which is... I expected that, you know, from the way that the trailers were about this, that she was going to turn evil. That she was going to be like...
It's by virtue of the original Hans Christian Andersen story, because the Snow Queen is the villain. So I expected it to go that way, too.
But instead, it's like she's actually really sympathetic, and she really actually cares about people, even if she wants to shut herself away. But yeah, so we have the coronation come up, and for the first time in years, Arendelle finally is opening its gates. Mm-hmm. And we have so many excited people about, you know, and we have this one, was it the Duke of Weaselton or Wesselton? Oh dear God, he is one of the most useless characters and only serves as like the plot point every time.
I just love from the first time you see him on screen, it's like you may as well stamp the words "I am an antagonist" on his forehead.
Because really, all he is, he's a greedy bastard, and he's not even hiding it very well, at all.
I do like that the movie's kind of self-aware at that point, and that he's like, I can't wait to find out more about the secrets of Arendelle and exploit its riches. Oh, did I say that out loud?
But yeah, I mean, basically, he's like the biggest Budinsky ever. Mm-hmm. And he's there. It's like that annoying person that, you know, won't stop following you around and you want them to go away, but they just won't get the message.
He's the Randall from Recess.
Yeah, but even Randall has his good points. Like, this guy he's the powerful person. He's got the power somehow. Even though he's not exactly in a position to be ruler, but he's, you know, he somehow puts himself in positions of power.
Yeah. Somehow
makes himself the authority, even though he's never given any.
Yeah. So.
And
of course, with the gates wide open, Anna is now ecstatic because, you know, years of having to live in the castle by herself with no company or anything. She's now like ready to get out there, ready to meet people, and of course, being a young teenager, she's thinking about love.
And she falls into that typical pattern of, I have just met you and I love you.
Yeah, she runs into, or I should say she runs into his horse.
Yeah.
Of Prince Hans. Get it? And of course he is like Prince Charming through and through. Like, he is gorgeous, he is polite, he's charming, and of course the two hit it off right away.
And you can't help but like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't help but like this guy. He's actually very sweet, very well-mannered, and it doesn't even seem like it's an act at all. It seems like he genuinely is a nice person.
He's charming and sophisticated, but also klutzy, just like you.
But yeah, I mean, they hit it off. They're like this.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see that, given time, they would have had a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But they decide that they can't wait, that they're going to be married in the morning. And
Giselle will be married in the morning.
But Anna goes to get the approval, the consent of Elsa, and Elsa will not have it. Because she's actually freaking smart.
Yeah, granted, it kind of goes both ways. On the one hand, yes, in a normal, logical situation, yeah, you shouldn't marry someone you had just met the day of. That's stupid. But on the other hand, the movie goes to such lengths, like, they even have a song together. Like, the movie goes to such length to show, like, what great chemistry and dynamics they have between them that you root for them. You do want them to get together.
Yeah.
And you're, like, happy when he does pop the question. And then, of course, Elsa butts in and she's like, no, absolutely not. And
Anna just will not take no for an answer and just keeps pushing and pushing. And then it causes it causes Elsa to lose control.
Yeah, because of course, with the coronation, this is the first time Elsa's been out in public in years. So she's worried about being able to control her powers, and she manages to do so through the coronation, and stays all regal and everything and withdrawn from everyone, but still, keeps a political face about her. And then, of course, Anna comes in with all this. And
it's just too much.
And even though Elsa tries to distance herself from everything, realize something's about to happen, I better remove myself. Yeah, Anna pushes her too far, and ice,
baby. But yeah, and then you see exactly what we were mentioning earlier about how the town, how everybody handles this sorceress all of a sudden appearing.
Like, sorcery! Monster! And I'm like, what?
It's like, she's not hurting anybody!
But you act like she just turned into a demon and is setting things on fire.
You act like
this is ice, this is snow, you can melt this shit. Yeah, and of course, they chase her out of town. Like, she flees, and Anna, of course, feeling guilty for having started the whole thing, decides to go after her, leaving Prince Hans in charge. And the thing is with Elsa, this isn't like, she would do her ice powers and then that would be it. For whatever reason, when she, runs across the fjord, the whole harbor area, the ice grows.
Everything.
And everything starts to become frozen. Yeah. And, the whole storm starts. So, and keep in mind, this is summer. It's July, and there's about 20 feet of snow.
Which does create for some very comical situations as the movie goes on. But, yeah, so Anna has to chase her, and she winds up at the trading post they're having their summer sale. This is probably one of the most subdued yet funniest. It's not hysterical, but it's still funny the way they pull it off with the trading post.
Just loving the Disney stabbing commercialism.
It's just like, hey, how are you? We're having a summer sale, summer blowout. We have a bomb. It's like, You do realize that there's, snow all around? You're wearing a sweater? But yeah, because of this, the trading post doesn't have much in the way of winter wear or winter supplies.
I just love it. He points toward the winter stock and it's just like a pair of boots and a pickaxe. And then while there, we meet our love interest. Well,
technically we met him earlier on.
Our other love interest.
Yes, technically we met him earlier on.
Yeah, I actually hesitate to call him love interest. I would much rather call him side character, because that's really more what he seems like, to be honest.
Our other male protagonist,
Kristoff.
Yeah,
Kristoff and his not talking reindeer, Sven. I love what they did for this, because I was so worried that they were going to have the reindeer talk, go back to the old Disneyisms of having all the animals talk, but they did. Instead of this, Kristoff talks for him and be like, "How you doing today, Sven?" "I'm doing okay, thank you."
And then he'd seriously be having conversations with Sven. We should note, and it's really awkward how it is, but I mean it does sort of establish for later on. But during the scene where Anna is a child and she gets struck, and they take her to the trolls, Sven is up in the mountains during that the very first musical number, and he's sort of training to become an ice salesman. And he and Sven are all little young chibi.
Yeah, it's not like they dropped them in out of nowhere.
No, they were there. They were there in the very beginning.
Yeah, they're kind of like a side thing though. Like you could look at them and tell, they're going to become important characters later. But
yeah, but the point is they were there when the trolls when the trolls first appear to help out, and you see them hiding among one of the rocks, which turns out to also be a troll, and essentially says, "Hey, you're family now," which is important. Which is important later on. But the thing is, though, he witnessed all that, and nobody recognizes Anna later on. It's weird.
I did think that was strange. I mean, even if he didn't know that girl was Anna or whatever, he doesn't even acknowledge her as the princess, which, was strange to me, because everyone else, whenever they see that it's Anna, they bow and everything, and him, he's just meh. I mean, they sort of offer an explanation for that. They mention the fact that, he's basically a loner, I guess. He has Sven, but
he doesn't care for people.
Yeah, he doesn't hang out with people.
He doesn't care for people.
So, yeah. I guess maybe that's the case. So, but anyway, he tries to get supplies, for winter, but of course, because it's technically summer, that means winter prices are high as hell. Because, low supply, high demand, the whole stuff. But
he gets irrational with the shopkeep. And the shopkeep, this is probably one of the funniest things, You see the slow-talking guy, it's like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Very friendly. He just stands up and tosses him out. And he's freaking a giant. I think, that's the thing. Most Disney films, they would have made this kind of character over the top. They would have been Brad Garrett's character in Tangled, I would have thought. But this guy is he's very soft-spoken, very, it's hey, not gonna let things get to me. But if, you get to him, he just, that, it's over. And he's not even
I just love afterwards, he's like, "I'm sorry you had to see that violence. Here's a jar of pickled fish."
Calm down. But yeah, Anna...
She, of course, sees that Kristoff has a sled and a reindeer, and he mentions at one point that the storm seems to be originating in the North Mountains, so obviously that's where Elsa must be. So she buys all the essential supplies for Kristoff in exchange for him taking her up to the North Mountain. Now, I just want to mention real quick, there is a musical number with Elsa where she goes to the North Mountain, and it is like the most beautiful song. It is the best song in the movie. Like it's this movie's like part of your world.
Yeah.
Or you know, like any princess song. Like this is it. Like Anna sort of had hers like at the beginning, which was pretty good. You know, it was a typical, you know, like, I want this song.
Mm-hmm.
But with Elsa's song, it's different because whereas with the other songs, it's usually like, I want to be part of this world. I want to be with these people.
Like,
I want to find my true love. With Elsa, she doesn't want any of that.
I want to be alone.
She wants to be free.
I want to be me. I want to just do my thing, and I don't want anybody to judge me. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want, you know, my own place, my own way, do things my way.
Mm-hmm. So, like, she's free for the first time in her entire life. So, she throws off her gloves, her cloak. She creates this big, gigantic, magnificent ice castle.
And the snowman.
And the snowman.
And the snowman.
And she changes her whole outfit. She lets down her hair and everything. And it is gorgeous. Like, and just a real quick thing, just because this is the perfect time to mention it, the CG is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the ice, the snow, and everything. It is so gorgeous.
This is one of those movies that Kat told me to see it in 3D, and she was right.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like, it probably looks good in 2D, but it pops in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the 3D, it just emphasizes everything,
Yeah,
and it's just
you feel
gorgeous.
You're in a winter wonderland.
It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. And they even take advantage of this in a few sceneries where Anna and Kristoff are walking through the forest. Like, they have different types. They have trees with snowdrops hanging from them. They have a cave full of spikes. They have like mountainous terrains and everything. They have different levels of snow blowing. It is gorgeous.
So, back to Anna and Kristoff. They're going up in the sled, and for some reason there's wolves.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, I could see there being wolves, but then again, now they're all immediately ravenous. Did their food supply run out? Were the other animals not available?
Unless the cold killed them off.
Yeah, but that quickly? That quickly?
Hey, you'd be surprised with some animals.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it becomes that scene in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, like this. I'm thinking like, hey, that's where the wolves from Beauty and the Beast went. Yeah, they chase them all through the mountains and everything, and at one point they have to leap off this chasm and onto another cliff, and in doing so, the sled falls down and gets destroyed. So now they have to walk the rest of the way on foot. In 20 feet of snow. That is never fun. Anyone who's ever, had to walk through snow, it is not fun. Especially if it goes all the way up to your waist.
And then your corset is frozen.
Yes, but on the way, they run into our comic relief character, Olaf.
Who likes warm hugs.
And I gotta say, I agree with what everyone else was saying at the time. Like, I was ready to hate this snowman.
Yeah, when you see, like, it's another thing with the trailers. Like,
I blame the teaser for this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Disney tends to do a lot of time, and in fact most animated films tend to do, is that they'll do a teaser and they'll put their, of course, comic relief character in there, apply to the little kiddies, make them want to go see it, and
it'll be like the most obnoxious thing, they'll say all their one-liners and be like, ah.
I mean, the teaser, the one thing it had going for it is that there was no dialogue.
Yeah. So you had no idea what to expect.
But, it's just based on the look of the character. Like, I'm expecting, annoying sidekicks like that robot from Treasure Planet, or like the gargoyles from Hunchback, and I'm like, oh, please, God, please, please, please. But
Olaf is actually a decent sidekick.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like he just shows up out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Elsa, caused winter, and suddenly he appears. Like, they showed him at the very beginning. He was their childhood snowman, and he actually remembers, the characteristics they applied to him, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Even though he only recognized Elsa, but he did not recognize Anna. Which I thought was strange, but they play him off as being, not that smart a character, so I guess. But he's still... Like, despite the fact that he's not all that smart, he's still actually pretty useful.
Mm-hmm. He's able to dislodge his head and his body and still make it move around, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. And he's not like, he's not like overused like certain other sidekicks. Sometimes you kind of forget he's there, and then he'll come back and it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's like they use him sparingly. Yeah. Like in the scenes where, they need to have a serious scene or whatever, they need to have a heartfelt scene, like, he's either not there or he's, like, toned down. Mm-hmm.
But of course, with much like most of the other side characters in a Disney film, he too has a dream.
He wants to experience the heat of summer.
And at first they make they make it seem as though he doesn't actually know what's going to happen to him if he's in the heat. But there are certain instances in which he's in heated situations and he knows. He knows that he's going to melt. He knows that,
Well, if you felt your whole body starting to deteriorate, you'd probably get the hint really quickly.
Yeah, but I think he knew all along, but I think he was, he was dreaming that he'd maybe get to experience the heat, maybe get to...
Yeah, they had this whole sequence during his song where they show him daydreaming about, frolicking through a field, hanging out on the beach, swimming in the water. And I'm thinking, wow, he would be water in every single situation. And I love the others are, like, looking at him. They're torn between whether they should tell him for his own safety or they should let him dream and just be happy. You're just like, I'm going to tell him. Like, you're a jerk. So, they head up towards the mountain and they get there to the palace and everything.
But first, I want to mention one scene in particular. It's probably the funniest thing ever.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. They're getting close to the castle, but they're trying to figure out how to get there, but they're seeing, like, all these really long icicles, and Olaf accidentally, without noticing it, starts walking right into one, right through it, and he notices, like, oh, I appear to have been impaled. And everybody in the theater is dying. I couldn't stop laughing.
It's just so casual. He doesn't even feel it. His body crashes and like, oh, look at that.
I appear to have been impaled.
He's like, oh, I'm on fire.
It's like this is an everyday occurrence. And it's like, that's kind of annoying.
Shot.
Oh, so yeah.
Another reason again why Olaf is not a bad character.
Yeah,
he has some good funny lines, and he's not obnoxious.
No, he's very subtle. Mm-hmm. He's very subtle. But yeah, they get to the palace, reunite with Elsa, but...
Yeah, Anna tries to, convince her to come back with them and help, stop the storm, but she refuses to even go near Anna. She keeps trying to, like, push her away, and they have, like, this duet. It's a combination of a bunch of reprises, but it's really good. It moves the plot along, which was impressive, and you slowly see Elsa lose it more and more. The snow's building up. It gets so thick you can't even see. And then in a moment of, I guess, frustration or fear or whatever, she lets off a whole wave of ice, one of which strikes Anna in her heart. Mm. Now, the thing that, in the beginning, after Anna was healed from that blow to her head, the king mentioned that, it's a good thing her heart wasn't struck because the head's easy to fix, but the heart, that's fatal. And I kind of remember this, actually, from the original Snow Queen tale. Except in that case, it was a mirror, and it was a mirror of evil, whereas that if, fragments of it got into your eyes, you would see nothing but ugliness and evil, or if it got into your heart, you would feel nothing but evil. So that's what it kind of reminded me of, so I was wondering what was going to happen in that case.
Yeah.
Like, I almost thought at one point she was going to drop dead.
Yeah, but
But she gets right back up, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's sort of a slow process that it pretty much, it freezes her entire body, but you see, like, little by little her hair gets more white.
And her body temperature drops.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately Elsa doesn't realize this right away. She just wants Anna and everyone else to leave.
Yeah,
so.
but Anna's like desperately trying to tell her, to communicate to her that her leaving wound up freezing all of Anna and Arendelle.
The thing is, though, Elsa, even though she knows how to create stuff now and knows how to build up like creatures and everything, she doesn't know how to get rid of it. And like we said, they don't get a chance to, explain properly to her. She kicks them out using this big, gigantic snow monster, which Olaf,
bouncer. It's like
which Olaf calls Marshmallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of like bothered me a bit because I'm thinking like, all right, I understand Elsa wants to stay away from Anna for her own safety, but then why would you stick a big, gigantic ice monster on them? And he even at one point chases them off a cliff. In fact, they actually fall off the cliff.
Mm-hmm. They're lucky that they actually land in snow, in like a big thing of snow.
I would think even then you would still get hurt.
And then it's weird because when they fall into the snow and you see them like in the next scene getting out, it's almost like the snow covered them. Instead of, like, them creating a giant hole in it.
Yeah, that did bother me a bit. Mm. Like, I realize we shouldn't be questioning the physics in a movie that has magic, but...
Yeah, but even then, that's kind of hard to ignore. Like,
he even says, it's like, it's gotta be a 100-foot drop. He's like, 200.
Yeah.
It's like, that would kill you. You would eat a pancake.
Yeah, not even the snow would... It might slow your fall
it'd be the same as falling on water.
Yeah.
Like, it'd still be like hitting concrete, except that you fall through.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so Anna is now getting weaker because of the ice shard. So, Kristoff decides to take her to see his friends, or as he's been calling them, what was it, the Love Masters?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and of course they happen to be the trolls we saw at the beginning, because it turns out that they adopted Kristoff and Sven, and,
But, of course, they appear only as rocks at first, leading Anna and Olaf to think that Kristoff is...
Which I would believe, too.
Yeah.
And Olaf is like, I'll distract him while you run.
Nice to meet you. Why aren't you running?
And, but of course the trolls reveal themselves, and they misunderstand the situation. They think that Anna's his girlfriend, so they're like looking her over. And they sing probably, in my opinion, the most forced, pointless song in the film.
They're trying to set the two of them up. And let's not forget at this point, we still think that Hans and Anna are going to be a thing. And they're even engaged.
I know, this bothered me so much. It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to set them up as a couple when you already have a perfect couple?
And it's like the freaking gnomes just don't take no for an answer. Like, one of the kids is, they're like, The troll adults are like, how do we get them to get together? It's like, And then one troll kid is like, well, I don't see no ring. Wow! Wow! I mean...
Disney promoting adultery.
Just... Wow! That's just... I don't even have words.
Yeah, like I said, the whole thing is uncomfortable. Like, I mean, it makes a little sense later on, but it's an awkward thing to sit through. But anyway, the King of the Trolls reveals himself. He tells them what's going on with Anna. And, of course, because this is a Disney movie, but I should say this is also true for the story as well, says that the only way to get rid of the ice in her heart is to thaw it with an act of true love. Or, as is most popular in Disney, love's true kiss. Ah. So now they realize what they have to do. They have to bring her back to Arendelle and have Hans kiss her, since she claims repeatedly through the whole thing that this is true love.
And seriously, you really believe it. You're
you really
like,
buy into it. It's
so,
like
you're like, okay, so what could go wrong? And I mean, I think there's even the scene. Well, we before we get into that, we need to talk about the attack on the castle.
right. I was about to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So-
unfortunately Hans at that time he was not in there like he was there, handing out blankets and stuff,
Yeah.
being a good ruler and helping everyone out.
And you see, he genuinely cares for everybody. He's like,
Like, he opens up a soup kitchen in the castle, he's offering people a place for warmth and everything. But then once Anna's horse comes back and he realizes she's stuck up there, he organizes a search party to go up and rescue her.
and of course that freaking Budinsky has to add his 2 cents in.
He sends in his 2 goons with instructions saying, hey, if you see the queen, kill her. That'll put an end to all this. Somehow. So yeah, the search party goes up, they approach the castle, they're encountering that big giant ice creature. And, ice creature almost kills Hans.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, the 2 goons get into the castle ahead of everyone else. They attack Elsa. She attacks them, and oh my god, I thought at one point she was going to kill them.
Or get killed herself.
Yeah, because they're like with the 2 goons, with one, she shoots ice spikes at him. At one point, you thought that one guy got impaled.
Yeah.
In the position, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
you saw
shit.
like go right through his arm, and
Yeah,
you're
and I'm
thinking like, at first I thought it had gone through his chest.
Yeah, and then one she aims like right at his throat. And then the other guy, she like creates a wall of ice on both sides, and then the next roll which pushes him out through the ice door and almost over the edge. And I'm like, holy shit. This is about to get brutal. But Hans stops her.
Somehow knocks her out.
He didn't knock her out. It's one of the goons tries to shoot her with an arrow. He pushes the arrow out of the way. It smashes a chandelier, which crashes, and
Yeah.
she, I guess, like gets thrown back from the impact and gets knocked out. She was running in heels after all.
Yeah. But she wakes up to find she's in
back in
Arendelle
Arendelle.
Castle, but she's in the prison cell, and her hands are bound.
I knew that wouldn't hold her.
Yeah.
I'm like, she can touch things like anything and turn it to ice. Like, this shouldn't be a problem.
But, I mean, Hans is like, genuinely, he's like, I want to keep you safe. I want you, to be okay. I had no other choice. I had to put you in here. So, I mean, I'm going to try doing what I can to get you out.
Like, he pleads her to end the winter. She says that she can't because she doesn't know how. So, and
it's at this point that Anna also returns.
Mhm.
And, so we were like, okay, this movie's not even close to being over, and she's already in the arms of her lover. So what could go wrong? And then the biggest twist Oh dear God, I can't even. I can't even. It really threw me for a loop.
Yeah, like, she explains to him the situation, says that she needs an act of true love, and he gets it right away. He's like, oh, true love's first kiss. He leans down to kiss her, and then he's like, too bad nobody loves you.
Holy shit!
I'm like, fool you!
What did twist?
Yes, it turns out Hans is the real bad guy in all this. In fact, he was a bad guy from the very beginning. The only reason he ever hooked up with Anna in the first place is because he wanted to become king. Because he has 12 older brothers, which means there's no chance of him ever succeeding the throne, which means he has to marry in somewhere. He can't hook up with Elsa because, she's antisocial, doesn't want to be around anyone for their own safety. So, of course, he goes to Anna, who, of course, having been shut up all her life, is desperate for love.
And he pretty much uses her to create the scene to get Elsa out of the way and create this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's
like you do not see any of it coming.
Because seriously, he shows like no sign.
He's like a damn good actor.
Seriously,
he's the best
like you really buy his performance. You really buy that he's a genuinely nice guy.
But it's so weird because in most cartoons and animations and stuff where you see this type of thing going on where someone is pretending to be good to get on someone's good side so they can get whatever benefits they can from them.
They have a tell.
You usually see them either being uncomfortable in situations or you would see scenes where they'd walk away and then be like, ugh, I hate that. Now to move on to my master plan. No, there was no sign of that. This blindsided me so much. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, it makes sense. It makes a ton of sense, but it just...
Like, wow. And here's the thing, like, I kept wondering, because when I noticed that the film was trying, at this point, from the Trolls song onward, was trying so hard to put Kristoff and Anna together, I'm like, okay, something's gonna
go wrong.
Something's gonna happen. Either Hans is gonna die, or Hans is gonna maybe end up falling for Elsa, or something is gonna happen to get him out of the way.
I also suspected during the battle that either he was going to get killed, or he was going to be caught with his finger in the cookie jar, and that he basically, out of trying to defend himself against Elsa, winds up hurting her, and Anna would somehow see it, and, they'd have a fight or something. So, I thought it was going to go with the cliche. So, kudos, Disney. Kudos.
Mm-hmm. And then just to, of course, show that he has completely flipped on a dime, he pretty much extinguishes all the fire in the room and locks Anna in there, basically to freeze to death. And then he goes to all the ambassadors and everything saying that Anna has died, but that before she died, that they had said their marriage vows, which technically makes him the new ruler of the land.
But then again, Elsa's still around.
Yeah, but the thing is, because he told them that, Elsa's the reason why Anna died, is that, she struck her, she was injured, and she died from her injuries. Which meant that she was now being charged with treason, which means she was being put to death. So, of course, with her out of the way, Hans becomes a new ruler. So, yeah. This looks like a really bad situation. And, of course, the winter is getting colder. It is getting to the point where, like, the walls are freezing. But, Olaf to the rescue!
Yeah. And this is where, essentially, I say that he probably knew all along, but, he was just kind of wishful thinking.
Yeah, he restarts the fire for Anna to keep her warm, and he even stays by it himself, even though he is, like, melting. But, he's like, some people are worth melting for. Like, aw. And, of course, he brings up the whole fact that, like, she tells him about how about Hans and how she needs an act of true love to cure her, and he's trying to think of it, and he brings up an example of Kristoff, saying that, oh, well, he brought you all the way to the palace, and then he left you. That's an act of true love. I'm like, okay. So she realizes now, hey, I need to get Kristoff back here and kiss me, and that'll cure me. And of course, Kristoff, meanwhile, this is one of those things that annoys me, in that, a character will leave a situation thinking that, okay, my part's done, but, oh, I don't want to leave, I want to be with the person I left behind, I'm going to go back for him. That's pretty much what happened. Like, I almost thought that he would have a conversation with Sven, the way he's been doing it, but instead he doesn't. He kind of just takes Sven at face value.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, like, Sven even tries to talk to him, is like making his like little deer noises, and he's like, I don't understand you when you talk that way. But he sees the storm forming over Arendelle. He decides to go back. And Elsa, meanwhile, has broken free of her chains, and she's running across the fjord, but the storm is getting so thick that she can't see where she's going. And Hans, of course, goes after as well, and then Anna manages to escape from her prison with Olaf. She runs out in the fjord trying to run toward, because she sees Kristoff in the distance coming toward her. Kristoff's going on, so everyone's gathering in one spot. And this is like on the fjord, which at points breaks and cracks, so there's like, they risk falling into the freezing water. And of course having boats crash on top of them. But it gets to the big moment.
Where you see that Kristoff has located Anna, and that...
and she's like literally freezing now. Her hands are crystallizing, as is her face.
But, she knows that, Kristoff's now the one. And she tries to go to him, but then she catches Elsa out of the corner of her eye, and she also sees Hans.
Yeah, Hans, lies to her and says that, Anna died and it's all your fault, you struck her. And of course, Elsa in her grief,
she crumples to the ground, just...
And Hans takes the opportunity and whips out his sword and is about to stab her.
So now Anna sees this, and she's like... She essentially has to choose between life and death.
It's either wait for Kristoff to come and kiss her, or go save her sister. And of course, she saves her sister, and she completely freezes in the process. Like, she freezes to the point where she gets hit with the sword and it shatters. Like, that is some solid ice.
And then Elsa sees this, and she just feels this overwhelming grief and hugs.
I gotta say though, like, I like at one point did think she would die when they show like that puff of air that comes out of her mouth. It's like, laughing, like, wow, that is grim.
Yeah.
Like, I thought temporarily, but then like I realized, oh, okay, this is what they're going for. Because I've seen this in other movies before where, act of true love doesn't have to be a man and woman kissing. It could just be two people that love each other, being there for each other. But, yeah, of course, sacrificing herself for her sister is the act of true love, and it brings her back to life. Yay! And, of course... This is also the thing that prompts Elsa. Like, she realizes what the key is to actually controlling her powers, and it's love.
Isn't it always?
The power of love will set you free.
Stop. But yeah, it's always love.
Yeah, she uses the power of love to stop the storm and thaw the city. So, everything is good now. Anna punches Hans in the face.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And then he gets locked up on board the ship.
Yep, and sent back home for his brothers to deal with.
Yeah. And the Duke of Weaseltown, he is told, we will no longer do any trades with your place.
Pretty much banishing him from the land.
Yep. You're done. You're done. Take your ship, go home. We don't want to see your ass again.
Yep. Yep, so Elsa is surprisingly welcomed back with open arms by the people. Kristoff gets his...
Well, they'd all been kind of watching from the sideline what happened on the fjord. So they saw...
Right.
They saw it all go down.
I assume they explained the situation.
Yeah.
So she's welcome back. She's now the beloved queen. She keeps the gates open from now on. She even creates like an ice rink in the courtyard for everyone to play in. Creates artificial snow. Thankfully, Olaf doesn't die.
Yeah, because he's about to melt, but Elsa creates like this cloud,
snow cloud for
him. So that
cool.
he can stay alive.
So, and of course, Kristoff and Anna get together.
Yeah, Anna gets him a new sled that she owed him.
And they're now the official, like, ice carriers or something. Because again, that's apparently a business over there. And they all live happily ever after.
So yeah, Frozen.
Like I said, it was pretty damn good. I thought it was better than Princess and the Frog and Tangled.
It definitely screwed with a lot of conventions, a lot of things you would have seen coming or would have expected from the trailers. So I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, like, it's really, and it's also really nice to, this isn't the first movie that's done it, but it's nice to see a movie about sisters. Because the only other one I could think of was Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
But even then, that movie, they ruined it by adding in the whole sci-fi alien elements. But with this one, it's done a lot better. Because you see the sisters growing up together. You see the dynamics between them. And, like, you can tell, like, even the little scenes they have with them together just talking, like, how well they click. And then, of course, the fact that Elsa's trying so hard to stay away from her sister, even though she loves her and wants to be with her, is just so heartbreaking. So, like, this truly is a sisters movie. I was actually lucky enough to see it with my sister, so we both left feeling good. And
alright, so I guess we talk now about the soundtrack, or the songs.
The music was pretty good, and actually quite different from other Disney songs.
Yeah, I mean, this felt very Broadway-esque, especially given that, what's her name, Idina Menzel. Idina Menzel is...
Love her!
Yeah, Elsa, and, she was in Wicked, so...
That's the thing, I had a feeling when they were writing the character of Elsa, they drew a lot from Elphaba, from Wicked, because they have a lot in common, they both have powers that they don't understand, they're ostracized from everybody else... They want to do good, but they can't, and ultimately have to, resign to a life of solitude. So, like, I can definitely see a lot, and I'm probably guessing that is either why they chose Idina Menzel, or once they chose her, that's what they realized they wanted the character to be like. Because she did play the original Elphaba, and it shows. And, of course, being a Broadway veteran, she has an amazing voice.
Yeah, I mean, that... Let Go was tailored to her. Just absolutely tailored to her. However, with the other songs, I didn't feel quite as powerful with them. I felt with some of them, it was like, on the one hand, I felt they were trying to be Broadway, but on the other hand, I felt they were trying to be for the movie. Some of them, in some ways, they were good, but they had that tiny element of awkwardness that didn't let me enjoy everything completely. I say, like, I think, Do You Want to Build a Snowman? That was good.
I like that one because it essentially builds up.
Yeah.
It is like the montage that takes the characters through the harsh period and, builds up how their situation is.
Yeah. But, I mean, I can't put my finger on it, but I still felt like that tiny bit of forced awkwardness toward it. Maybe it was in the way that Anna was singing it.
But that's a thing they did different with Anna than they did with any other Disney princess, is they try to make her modern. Like, she's not proper, like, most Disney princesses. She's not all back straight, arms like this, talking in like, you know, basically enunciating everything perfectly. Or talking in like a wistfully girly voice. She's like basically an awkward teenager.
Yeah. But, I think what really bugs me the most is I don't think, in terms of the soundtrack, the movie really knew what it wanted to be. It didn't know if it wanted to be like a period piece or a location piece in terms of, you know, was it taking place in like the Norwegian area? Was it going to have very culturally or regional types of music to it, which I feel most really got to me when they're doing the song with Hans and Anna.
Yeah.
Felt very out of place. The song itself, like the lyrics, they work fine, but the background music just, it feels weird.
It changes multiple times throughout the film. Like the very first number with the ice builders, like they had a whole choir going in the background, a lot of heavy music.
Yeah, I thought the kind of music that they were opening with, that they were doing with, you know, with the Ice Carvers song, I thought that was going to be sort of the backdrop of the music, with the music. But whereas, like, you get the song like Build a Snowman, where you get the song, like Hans and Anna's song, especially with Hans and Anna's song, because it just feels, it has, like, bongos, it has very...
It has like a tropical feel to it.
That's exactly it. It felt very tropical. And it didn't feel like a northern type of song. It felt very South Seas. It felt very summery.
Yeah, and then you get to Elsa's song, Let It Go, and suddenly you hear piano music.
Yeah,
and
that felt more in place with the setting. That felt really perfect, really spot on, really met the dynamic, really met with her voice. It was very complimentary to the scene and very complimentary to the character. And then, what's the song where they meet up again? The princess song, the I Want More song.
Oh, it's For the First Time in Forever?
Yeah, that one kind of felt awkward too. Then,
I mean, it was mostly Anna, you know, talking about her desires and stuff. Like I said, it's sort of the part of your world song or something.
And then the troll song was the most awkward song. And not because of the music, but because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
It was just uncomfortable to sit through. Yeah. It wouldn't have been as bad if, you know...
If she wasn't engaged.
Yeah, under different circumstances, it could have actually been a different song. It could have been a much better song. It could have been something that you'd actually want to hear in a love ballad. But in the way it was set up here, it was just so awkward. It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to call it a detriment, but it's like, you want so bad. Like, I was almost thinking at one point that this would be the first Disney couple we see set up at the very beginning and then stay strong to the very end. But then I realized that would kind of ruin the message, you know, the new updated message Disney's now trying to give is that, oh, you can't fall in love with someone on the first day.
Yeah.
Like, I realize that's the new thing now that they're trying to promote. They're trying to get away from that whole stereotype, but I don't know, it's just, they set them up so well. Like, they had such good chemistry together. You wanted them so bad to be together, and then the twist happens, and it's like a slap in the face.
I would have been content if they were just friends. I really would have. I would have been
they could have done what they did in Enchanted. You know, where they set up with Giselle and the prince, and then she ends up falling for the other guy. Because they could have done it that way, which is more believable, because you realize, like, yeah, the guy's still a nice guy, but the two just met and they realize they're not compatible, whereas with these two, you see them get together, you see them go through this stuff, and you're rooting for them to get together. With this, it's like, I never rooted for Anna and Kristoff to get together.
No. Like I said, I could have honestly seen them as friends. And you see, like, Kristoff's even, like, oh, you just met this guy? Seriously? Or just, you know.
Honestly, for the most part, Kristoff's a jerk.
Yeah.
I didn't see any, like, appealing qualities with him. Like, nothing that I would see, like, that I would see Anna being able to fall for.
Yeah, nothing until, like, I think they reached the castle.
Yeah, because he's not particularly funny. He's not, gorgeous. He's not, fun or anything.
He's antisocial.
Yeah,
He doesn't like people, and he doesn't even notice that Anna's a princess, and when he finds out that she's a princess, he's not going to treat her any differently.
Mm-hmm.
So...
on the one hand, I guess maybe that would be refreshing for her, not to feel bad at her, but on the other hand, like, he's such a jerk, it doesn't really register.
Yeah. You don't... And it's really... It just sort of happens that they...
It felt really forced.
Yeah, it felt incredibly forced.
It's like, we have a princess, we need to get her with somebody, and we already have plans for this one guy to betray her, so we gotta find a way to get the other two together. Like, there's really no moment, there's no spark where he realizes she's the one, or she realizes that, hey, maybe I should be with this guy instead. There's nothing like that. There's just that troll song, the incredibly forced and awkward troll song. I don't know. Like, I would have been fine if... Actually, you know what I was sort of hoping would have happened? Is that Kristoff would end up falling for Elsa.
I kind of thought of that, too. I also kind of thought of Han, like you were saying earlier, Han's falling for Elsa.
Yeah, because I would see it with Kristoff, because, they're both recluses, they're not around people that much, but at the same time, he loves ice. Ice is his world. He even admires her craftsmanship on her palace. I thought that would be the thing to bring the two together. But it never happened.
Yeah.
No, it was going to be him and Anna, and it's like, they have nothing in common. He ends up, suddenly being devoted to her, like, wanting to save her and everything, but...
It just sort of happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, like, there's no build-up to it, really. It just, it happens.
Yes. So, honestly, I would not call Frozen a romance in any regard, because even the romance that at the time felt genuine is destroyed by the end. Like, I would firmly put this in the sisters movie category.
I also wanted to... Well, we still have another song to talk about, and that's Olaf's song.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's a cute song, and it works well, but I don't know what exactly, if it was the direction, or if the actor himself just weird. The voice was off. It was a little weird. It was a little off-putting.
I think he tried to do a lot of it in a sort of a whispery sense.
Yeah, and it just...
on the one hand, that worked because he wasn't the typical obnoxious one. Because if he was any typical obnoxious Disney sidekick, he would be like, "Lightning!"
Yeah.
But in this case, he was more subdued and it actually made him funnier. But I guess in terms of the singing, it wasn't strong. In terms of the singing,
I think he could have. I don't want to say belted it, but he could have made it a little more energetic. I mean, you do and you don't get the sense of him really wanting to see summer and really being excited about it, he's just sort of in wonder. It's like, but at that point it's like, I don't know, does this really need to be a song?
I would put it firmly in the category of sidekick song, because there is a lot of animated films where the sidekick will invariably get a song that will totally detract from everything that is going on in the movie, like totally sort of take you out of what's going on.
Yeah, but there are those songs that, the sidekick songs are actually, they work with the dynamic of the show. they show what kind of plot they're gonna have, what kind of subplot they want, what wants they have. I mean, you look at Friend Like Me. Let's see. Got Hakuna Matata. You have
Be Our Guest.
Be Our Guest. Definitely Be Our Guest. That's like the epitome of the show-stopping number.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Yeah,
even insert...
That at least makes sense because they're putting on a show for her.
Yeah, but they also insert their character development into it, too. It's like, you know, they're servants that live to serve. And that, you know, they've had nobody forever, and they're now enchanted magical objects. You can see the plight that they have going for them. Let's see, what else? You got...
Technically, Human Again was more appropriate for that, but whatever, that's more Broadway.
Princess and the Frog, Evangeline.
True.
That is...
Even though that song got hijacked.
True, but it's still, like... It's a beautiful song. Mm-hmm. It's relevant to the plot. And it's catchy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whereas this one's not so catchy. But it does everything that the sidekick song needs to do, showing, you know, what he wants, you know, his dreams, his, you know, his character, but it's not catchy. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the songs are catchy.
Yeah.
Like, they're catchy enough where, like, you will hum them, you won't know majority of the words, but you'll hum them.
Yeah.
The main ones. Like, I still, like, I keep, like... I remember leaving the theater and I'd either be humming like, do you want to build a snowman? Or we're like, for the first time and forever, or let it go.
Yeah, Let It Go. I would be singing that song out all the way. All the way. Just, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
But with Olaf's song, I mean, I can't even remember the name of the song.
In Summer.
Oh, In Summer. Yeah, see, I couldn't remember that.
Like, it's like, in summer.
Yeah, it's kind of forgettable, and like I said,
like, it's a cute enough song.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not...
I said it's definitely a cute song. It just doesn't have some of the staying power that.
It's not even like 2
songs.
minutes, too.
Yeah.
It's like really short. I still like the music though. It deviates from like the typical I'd call it Alan Menken style, where it's like you have a big opening number, you have the I Want song, you have the villain song, you have like the big show-stopping number, and then you have like a reprise at the end. Like, it deviates from that.
Tiny bit,
like,
just a tiny bit, but most of those are in there.
Yeah,
most of those
they
are.
They are and they aren't. Like, there's no number at the end.
There's no villain song.
Right, there's no villain song, there's no number at the end, like, there really is no big show-stopping number. Like I said, Elsa's song is the best, but that's more of the I Want song when you think about it.
And then, of course, like I said, the soundtrack itself does not know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be related to the setting. It doesn't know if it wants to be like a cultural sort of soundtrack, or it doesn't know if it wants to be a Broadway soundtrack. It's kind of a confused soundtrack. And like I said, it's really awkward when you get to Hans and Anna's song, and it feels so out of place. Like, the song is catchy, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't feel like it belongs in this kind of movie.
Frankly, I'm surprised that they didn't make a pop version of that song. Because you think that would be... Because I know they made a pop version of Let It Go, since it's obviously the best song, but you think they'd do it of that, too, because, again, it's a couple song, and they've done that before, you know, like with Beauty and the Beast and Part of Your World, so...
I don't know, but like I said, the soundtrack is just awkward. It doesn't know quite what it wants to be. Yeah.
I said, I will still listen to it. Like,
yeah.
There are parts where you really need the visuals to go along with it. It's not something you can purely listen to on its own merit. It really needs the help of, like, the scene, of, like, the movie clips and everything. But, no, I still like it, though.
Yeah.
It was surprising, you know, not to see Alan Menken doing a Disney film for once. Like, you have these brand new people, like this couple that I think of, like, written for Broadway or something, and it shows.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I like it, though.
Yeah, I thought it, like I said, it was good, just, it had that unmistakable awkwardness to it that that at times took me out of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like, despite that, like, the best thing about this movie, obviously, is the CG. Like,
the scenery,
the artwork,
gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, because I heard that they went to Norway, like, they had the artists go to Norway to examine, like, ice sculptures and everything, so they can get the texture down just right on certain things, and it really shows. It is just so beautiful. Like I almost expected them, like, before I saw this, I expected at some point, are they going to try to make this a Christmas film, since there's so much winter and everything? But thankfully they don't.
No.
So, but you could easily count it as, like, a winter movie. Like, I mean, technically it takes place in summer, but you just feel like you're in a winter wonderland, and it's just so gorgeous and everything. And here's a funny thing, the first time I saw it, I don't think the heat was working in the theater I was at, so when I was, like, watching it, I could, like, feel the cold, and I'm like, oh, God.
They did that intentionally.
I'm not complaining. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's, like, two big questions we gotta address, though, before we wrap this up. It's two things I've been hearing from critics and other people and stuff. One is this as good as the films from the Disney Renaissance? And the other one is this the start of a new Disney Renaissance?
It's hard to say. I mean, for the first one, I'd say it is and it isn't. I think, and perhaps maybe they are attempting to get another Renaissance started, seeing as, they've now got this, they've now moved over to CGI, they're not doing the hand-drawn films anymore. So, I mean, in some cases, I think yes, that it is another Disney Renaissance, but in some cases, it could be they're just trying to make a new outlet. Because we had other movies. We had Tangled. We had... I'm trying to think, what else did we have?
There was Tangled, and I mean, before that was Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog, yeah.
They had, like, Disney was making its own CG things. Like, the first thing they made was Chicken Little, which was awful.
And they had Meet the Robinsons.
Which was okay, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And...
I'm feeling like there's one more. Was it The Wild?
They made The Wild, which was awful.
Yeah. So, I think... Now that they've finally sort of settled into the CGI, I guess they're trying to establish a new dynamic, trying to maybe get them another Disney Renaissance started up. And you see that they're also... Oh, we forgot Wreck-It Ralph!
Oh yeah,
Wreck-It Ralph! Yeah! I'm guessing, because of all this, they're starting to try and figure out what they want to do. I guess... When they first started with the CGI, I guess they didn't want to make everything a musical. They wanted to probably get people used to the new look before they really started making musicals with them. And then you got Tangled, and everybody really seemed to enjoy that. You have Frozen. People seem, I guess, a little mixed on it.
No, actually, people I heard it's, like, critically acclaimed now. Like I said, people are saying, like, oh, this is it. This is the start of a new era for Disney. I can sort of see that, because obviously they realized after Princess and the Frog that hand-drawn animation wasn't going to cut it anymore. I mean, in my opinion, I will always love hand-drawn animation. I will always hope that one day Disney goes back to it, even if it's like a nostalgic film or something. Yeah. But I do realize with the changing times and the new technology and everything, you gotta adapt, you gotta continue, you gotta get better. And with Tangled was a pretty good attempt. Like, it was better than I thought it would be. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. And I think with Frozen, they more perfected it. They realized more what they should invest in, which is, not just the characters, but atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
so I think once they finally get settled into it,
like I forgot who said it. I think it was Rob Walker who said it. That Robert Doug Walker said that they consider Frozen to be like the Little Mermaid of this era film. Because, like with Little Mermaid, it was considered like the thing that started the Renaissance, and, it was a good movie, but it wasn't great. And then you had Beauty and the Beast, which was just brilliant.
But the thing is, with Little Mermaid was the first to sort of experience the complete change to, new technology, to a new style of animation and experimenting with Pixar. And that was the thing, they had Pixar. That was their first time using this. And they were, doing the really big blockbuster sort of show.
I just realized, given that how the reviews are and everything, I think this might actually be the first year where a Disney movie outdid a Pixar movie.
Possibly, but as I said, with Monsters, Inc., it was close. It was very close. And like I also mentioned, I liked Monsters University better than Monsters Incorporated. I thought it...
Well, because it had more heart. It had more character development, so...
Yeah. But, I mean... Then again, I also say here, with going back to... Like I said, with Little Mermaid, it was all new technology. They pretty much put everything in their, basket, and they got a success with it. With this, they've already gotten the technology. They've already made movies like this, so this is not the first. But, here's the thing. This might be the continuing trend. Unfortunately, though, it could also go the exact route of the Disney Renaissance, in that it starts off very strong and then just fizzles out, and they're starting to just make movies for the money again.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's encouraging, that, so many people like this movie and they like this style, because it's like, okay, we got something good, and people like that it's good, so let's keep it going. So it makes me look forward to more. I'd say comparing it to the original Disney Renaissance, like, I don't know if you can compare it. I mean, yes, it seems like the same formula and everything that we love, but there's a slight difference to it. Like, I wouldn't put it up there with Beauty and the Beast, as being the very best, but let's put it this way, it's better than, like, say, Pocahontas, or Hunchback, or Hercules. And I do see this being a good hope for the future, so it all depends on where they go from here. Because I looked at the list for next year of Disney films, and a lot of live action. I think there's like 1 or 2 animations, but I'm not sure.
Well, there was only 2 last year as well. There was only Frankenweenie and Wreck-It Ralph, and this year it was Planes, and that's not technically Pixar.
Right, technically.
It comes from the world of Cars, but this was Disney all through and through.
True.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next? I mean, obviously we're going to have more Pixar, but Pixar never really does musicals. So...
Like, they've done soundtracks and stuff, but not musicals.
But generally it's like they have some recording artist come in and sing, or they have, an already established song be there, so who knows what they're going to do. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the subject.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of now with seeing Frozen, it is a definite watch. Like, And a lot of people were hesitant, saying like, "Oh, is this gonna be like Tangled Part 2 or something?" But no, it is not like that. It is pretty much completely different. It is like, even if like the characters or the story isn't that great, like the visuals itself is a treat. Like, go for the experience. Like, it is just absolutely gorgeous, and like I said, it's a sisters movie. If you like sisters movie, you'll like this. Oh, and we should mention that short at the beginning.
Yes, that's another thing that I've noticed with the Disney films is they're doing the shorts a lot more now.
And they're putting effort into it.
Yeah, like you had last year, you had Paperman with Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
You had what else?
Isn't there one like a moon?
I think you're thinking of Braves. Or
yeah, there's one where like they go to the moon. And it's like made of stuff.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the one that was that preceded. Which movie was it? I think it was Brave.
Yes.
It was either Cars 2 or Brave. But
and there was Day and Night.
Day and Night. Okay, that was that's thing is you're talking Pixar now,
Okay.
which is different.
I keep forgetting. Sorry.
But I saw the short that came before Frozen, and I said, this is the best thing I've seen since Day and Night. Because this was them experimenting with two different kinds of animation, fusing them together, making them work trying to synchronize them. And it just works so well.
Yeah, they take an old-fashioned Mickey cartoon, black and white, and turn it into color 3D. And they go back and forth between the formats, and in a
It's
sort of
like
breaking the fourth wall type thing.
They have the CG interacting with the 2D with the hand drawn. And it's all
physics.
It's all done like on a theater screen. So you have like the characters pop out of the theater screen, and even when like you have a hole in the screen and you have like the characters on the other side going through it, you could see part of their CG selves in that hole, but it's still like synced up with the 2D animation. I thought that was so clever.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they did some really silly, absurd, obnoxious things.
It's an old Mickey's cartoon.
No, I mean in the CG part when they had the horse with a cell phone. And
it's like, ring, hello, give me
back
back
my
my phone.
But yeah, I thought it was great, and great use of cartoon antics too. I really love this one.
Yeah, that, like I said, such a good use of 3D. Like, that short and this whole movie was a good use of 3D. Like, I usually am one to stay away from that, particularly when it comes to live action, just because it will either look fake or look forced, but with this, it just feels so natural, and it is so good. So yes, Frozen, definitely a good movie, definitely go see it. So, until then, I am Cat Critic.
I'm One Sat Morn.
And we saw Frozen today!
Hey, you want to build a snowman?
Yay!
Later!
Oh, there's no snow!